So let's learn how to create drop-down lists in Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. Hi, my name is Alwyn. There are many times when creating forms in Microsoft Word, it'd be awesome to actually have a drop-down list. So sometimes we create a basic table and we want to put in little controls that allows our users to click a drop-down to select from. We do the same in Excel. If we want drop-downs, and especially drop-downs to reference to a list, Excel is awesome with that. So we're going to look at that as far as Word and Excel goes. So let's look at creating a drop-down list in Microsoft Word. So if you look at the table that I've created, I've got two questions. The first one, if you could star in a movie, what genre type of movie would it be? So let's create a drop-down list. Now, in order to create a drop-down list, we're actually missing a tab on the top. So we need to add this tab in Microsoft Word. To do this, we go to File. When we click on the File tab, it opens up the Backstage view for us. We then click on Options. That opens up Word Options dialog box. Click Customize Ribbon, and on the far right hand side that has all the various ribbon tabs, we scroll down till we find the Developer tab. We select it and click OK. Now on the top we can see the Developer tab. When clicking on the Developer tab, we now look at the Controls group within the Developer tab. The Controls group has various controls that we can add. Rich text content, plain text. We can even put in a date. But the one we're looking for in this one is a drop-down list content control. Once we've selected the control, we've got to now put in the list. So I'm going to click on Properties next to your date picker, where it says Title. We're going to type in genre. I'm now going to add few options. So let's say comedy, and we click OK. Click Add again, display name, drama, fantasy, and let's give it one more, action. Awesome. So let's click OK. Now, if I click on the drop-down arrow, I now have my list. How cool is this? Now let's do the similar process, only this time, in the controls, I'm going to choose a combo box. So I'm going to click combo box, and I'm going to go to properties. I'm going to add the same thing, genre. I'm going to put in the list, action, fantasy, comedy, drama, and click OK. And now I'm going to click OK again, and if I look, I've got the same options. But then what's the difference between what we created on the top with your drop-down list and the combo box? So where it says choose an item, I'm going to type in horror. Nothing. Let's click on the one on the bottom, horror. And can you see the combo box allows me to add my own information. However, it doesn't add it to the list. It just allows you to add it within that text box. Whereas on the top where you got your drop-down list, you're just only specific to the list that you created. Awesome. Now let's go into Excel. If I go into Excel, I've got two questions here. If you could star in a movie, what genre type of movie would it be? So I want a drop-down list. If I click on list on the bottom, you would see that I've actually created a genre list already. So I want it to actually pick from that specific list. In order to do this, I'm going to go to the Data tab on the top. That opens up the Data ribbon. I'm then going to go to Data Validation in your Data Tools group, where it says Allow Any Value. I click Drop Down and I choose List. As soon as I choose List, if you look towards the bottom, it asks you where is the source information basically coming from. So I'm going to click into this field. I'm going to select the sheet called List, highlight my list, and then click OK. And if I click on the drop down arrow, you're going to see your whole list appears. So if I choose comedy, there we go. Now I'm going to go one step further. The next question I got, select the best fitting movie based on the genre you selected. So I'm going to go back to my list. I've hidden a few columns. I'm going to just bring in the columns. And if you see, what I've done is I've created a list of movies based on the genre. So I've got action movies, animation movies, comedy, drama, fantasy, romance, and oh, that is it. So I want, based on my selection, it needs to give me only what's in my list. In order to do this, I'm going to highlight my list. So for action, I'm going to now go into what we call the name box, and I'm going to click in there and type in action and press enter. So basically I've named this range. If I go to animation, I'm going to do the same thing, highlight animation. Now whenever we're giving a range a name, a range of cells, we never put spaces. It always is one word. So if I click my drop down arrow, you're going to see I've already named the others. So if I go to animation, it highlights it. If I go to comedy, it highlights my list. If I go to fantasy, highlights my list. So I'm going to go back to form. I'm going to click on my cell that I want my drop down to be in. I go to data validation. Where it says any value, I'm going to choose list. But now I'm going to put a formula. I'm going to say equals indirect, open bracket, B7, close bracket. Because B7 actually has my reference. And I'm going to click OK. So now, if I click on the drop down arrow, I can see now a list of all the comedies. Let's go and change this. So if I go to the top, I will choose action. And now it should give me the action movies. If I click on fantasy, click on the drop down arrow, it gives me all the fantasies. Awesome. I hope you can utilize this in your own spreadsheets, creating lists that manage the way people enter information within your actual spreadsheet as well as your forms in Word. Thank you for your time. I hope you learned a lot and hope to see you in the next lesson. Bye.